The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm glow over the military base. The hum of motors and echo of footsteps faded as the day wound down, but for the new girl, Mia, this was just the beginning. She stood in front of the kennels, her heart racing with excitement. Dogs of all shapes and sizes barked and bounded around in their runs, each one filled with energy and personality. Mia felt a surge of joy wash over her as she watched them. After all, she loved dogs more than anything else in the world. Mia had grown up surrounded by animals and quickly found that they understood her better than most people. Here, at the new base, she aimed to prove herself not only to her fellow soldiers but mainly to the dogs. She had a dream of working closely with them, training them to trust and obey. Little did she know that today would test that bond in ways she never expected. As she was introduced to the unit, laughter erupted from the men when they learned of her passion. "So you love dogs so much? How about you bunk with them tonight?" one soldier joked, his grin wide and mischievous. They all laughed, not realizing how serious they were about their hazing stunt. The sounds echoed through the kennel area as they explained their plan. Mia would spend the night locked in with some of their most aggressive working dogs. With no cot or heat, just concrete floors and growling canines. What kind of initiation is that? Mia thought as they pushed open the heavy kennel door. Her stomach tightened with nerves, but a spark inside her ignited curiosity instead of fear. She knew these dogs needed understanding, not just commands shouted at them by handlers who wanted them to follow orders without question. Once inside, she settled into a corner of the run and took a deep breath. The air was thick with the scent of dogs and wood shavings from their beds. Looking around cautiously, Mia spotted several powerful-looking dogs pacing in their kennels, dogs that had been deemed too unruly for anyone to handle alone after dark. Their fierce reputations echoed through the unit's stories like chilling whispers, but Mia felt something different, a connection. As night fell, shadows crept across the concrete floor while Mia attempted to remain calm amid the chatter from her unit outside. With no other choice but to embrace her surroundings, she remembered techniques from her past experiences as a rehabilitation handler at another kennel. She'd spent countless nights helping scared and misunderstood dogs find comfort again. It was always about patience, understanding their fears instead of forcing obedience. One by one, as if sensing her calmness radiating through the chilly air, the dogs approached cautiously from their kennels. Their eyes glimmered in the low light as they sniffed at this newcomer who dared to enter their territory willingly. "Hey there," Mia said softly, easing into a relaxed position on the ground. She extended a hand slowly toward one particularly fierce-looking dog named Titan, a reputation-bound beast known for snapping at male handlers. To her surprise, he stepped forward tentatively before gently nudging her palm with his wet nose. Instant warmth flooded through Mia's heart. Perhaps tonight would be different than what everyone expected. As hours passed under dim lights with only whispers and grumbles from the dogs surrounding her, powerful bonds formed, an unspoken agreement built on trust and shared understanding grew stronger between them amidst swirling fears caused by the looming presence of others outside. Meanwhile, back behind the fence where her unit waited expectantly for chaos or drama to unfold, unsure whether laughter or cries would fill their ears, their bravado waned along with dwindling confidence as time stretched longer than anticipated. When dawn peered over the horizon, painting streaks of orange across an awakening sky, something unexpected happened. Rather than breaking out into chaos or retreating away from their handlers' commands, furiously barking orders like before, the pack refused to respond to anyone but Mia. Mia stood proudly among them as if wearing an invisible crown. She understood these dogs better than anyone ever had, and with each command or gesture came profound respect reciprocated back towards her from every dog present, eager for connection built upon trust earned quietly through quiet compassion rather than fear. The unit stood frozen behind their fence, eyes wide open in disbelief, as she walked out into daylight with an entire pack shadowing her every step obediently at heel. These loyal creatures recognized true leadership born not through degradation but through kindness reflected off those surrounding them all along, a lesson learned they would never forget again. The sun had fully set, and the dim lights of the kennel flickered on, casting long shadows that danced across the concrete floor. Mia sensed the thick air swirling around her, heavy with anticipation as her fellow soldiers outside the fence laughed and railed against each other, preparing for the spectacle they believed would unfold inside. "Let's see how tough she really is," one soldier chuckled, a hint of mockery in his voice. The others joined in, their laughter ringing through the night as they assembled to witness what they thought was an easy way to humiliate the new recruit. They expected her to panic, to beg them to let her out, or even worse, be bitten by one of the fierce working dogs they had warned her about. These were not just any canines, they were trained for combat and known for their aggression, especially under pressure. Mia stood alone inside the kennel, holding her breath as she listened to their banter fade into a mix of playful jabs and exaggerated tales of previous initiations gone awry. "Remember that other rookie who cowered and cried when we locked him in?" one soldier shouted. "What a sight that was! You think she'll do any better?" At that moment, Mia felt a surge of determination. She wasn't there to prove anything to them, but to herself. She thought back to how she had spent countless nights at her previous base, sitting quietly with dogs just like these, dogs that were tough but deeply misunderstood. Each one had its own story, some filled with fear and heartbreak. She knew she couldn't allow herself to be intimidated by the rowdy laughter outside. With a deep breath, Mia stepped farther into the kennel's run as the heavy door clanged shut behind her. The dogs within reacted immediately. Low growls rumbled within their chests as they sensed a new presence in their space. The air crackled with tension as they paced restlessly in their kennels, sizing her up. Mia knew that barking dogs could easily become aggressive if frightened or threatened, and she had no intention of being scared. She settled on the concrete floor into a cross-legged position. Forcing herself to remain calm, she focused on her breathing while keeping her gaze steady on the fierce-looking animals pacing before her. Her heart thudded in rhythm with a gnawing knot in her stomach but also pulsed with excitement. This was an opportunity, a chance to show what she could do. Initially, the dogs responded to her presence with caution. Titan, a massive German shepherd with piercing eyes and a notorious reputation for snapping at male handlers who dared to enter the kennel after dark, prowled nearest to where Mia sat. His stance was rigid, muscles coiled like springs ready to unleash at any sign of weakness. But instead of showing fear, Mia began speaking softly. "Hey there, big guy," she called out in a gentle voice. "I'm not here to hurt you." As she extended a hand slowly toward him, she hoped he would sense her sincerity through the quiet strength emanating from her. Incredibly, he paused for just a moment before stepping forward onto uncertain paws. She could see ember-like curiosity glowing in his eyes as he tentatively nudged her palm with his nose. It was breaking the ice between them, a silent agreement that spoke louder than words. Meanwhile, outside the fence, Mia could hear the soldiers' words change from jeers to murmurs of disbelief as they realized she wasn't doing what they'd expected. Instead of cracking under pressure or running back out whimpering like they thought she would, Mia remained unwavering amidst growling giants. As moments turned into hours in that chilly concrete run, countless dogs began approaching one by one, each learning that this new girl was different. They could feel it. They were truly seen by someone who understood their pain and loneliness without needing harsh commands to force them into submission. As time progressed and shadows grew longer inside the kennel, Mia felt a palpable shift in energy around her. With heartbeats syncing together, a rhythmic dance of trust forming, she forged unexpected bonds with these once fiery creatures who had only known fear and domination from their former handlers. In oblivion from the mocking laughter outside, now drowned out by quiet breaths shared between humans and animals alike, Mia had unwittingly begun dismantling fears that simply needed compassion instead of condemnation, a lesson learned through every whispered word spoken between them. Amidst all odds stacked against her from those waiting behind bars locked strong in place, she refused to yield but instead nurtured growth where chaos once thrived. As Mia stood in the kennel, the heavy door clanged shut behind her, sealing her inside with the unit's most aggressive working dogs. The sound echoed ominously through the dimly lit space, amplifying the palpable tension that hung thick in the air. The overhead lights flickered intermittently, casting strange shadows that seemed to twist and writhe along the concrete walls, heightening her awareness of the formidable beings surrounding her. The dogs were not just any canines, they were fierce and battle-tested, chosen for their relentless loyalty and intimidating presence. Known for their sharp instincts and protective natures, they had a reputation that sent shivers down the spines of even seasoned handlers. Many of these dogs were notorious for their aggressive tendencies, especially when night fell, a time when their primal instincts kicked in, making them unpredictable. Mia could hear low growls emanating from various kennels as she cautiously approached, each sound a reminder of her precarious situation. Her fellow soldiers outside expected chaos to unfold at any moment. They anticipated screams or pleas for release as she faced off against barking brutes. They believed this hazing stunt would expose her weaknesses or, at the very least, provide them with some good-natured entertainment. But Mia was determined to show them something different. She had faced challenges before and understood that fear could either paralyze you or empower you. As she took a deep breath to steady herself, she recalled her experiences as a rehabilitation handler at another base, a place where she had spent countless nights earning the trust of dogs just like these. The memories flooded back, hours spent nurturing terrified animals into confident companions through patience and understanding. With each step deeper into the kennel's confines, she felt a newfound resolve building within her. The air was laden with the pungent sense of fur and shavings mixed with an underlying musk of anxiety, both hers and theirs. It was an environment that demanded respect but also offered a unique opportunity for connection. Mia paused in front of a particularly menacing kennel housing titan, the German Shepherd whose reputation preceded him. His imposing figure loomed behind the bars, muscles rippling beneath his thick coat as he assessed this newcomer daring to intrude upon his territory. Titan's eyes were piercing, filled with suspicion and guardedness. It was said that he'd once bitten a handler who entered his space without proper authority, a lesson learned by many who underestimated him. "Okay, big guy," Mia whispered softly as she crouched down on one knee, making herself smaller to appear less threatening. "I'm not here to hurt you." She extended her hand slowly toward him, palm upturned in an invitation rather than an intrusion. To her surprise, Titan merely watched her, his growl fading into an inquisitive huff as he took a tentative step forward. Something shifted within him, a flicker of curiosity sparked in those deep-set eyes as he sniffed at her outstretched hand. In that moment, Mia felt a rush of warmth spread through her chest. Perhaps this night would turn out differently than everyone expected. As minutes turned into hours inside the kennel, Mia maintained her calm demeanor while speaking softly to each dog around her. The initially intimidating growls morphed gradually into quiet whines as more canines approached cautiously from their kennels, drawn by both curiosity and a yearning for connection they had long been denied. Outside the fence, Mia's unit began exchanging bewildered glances as they witnessed this unexpected transformation unfolding before them. Instead of fear or chaos reigning supreme within those walls, there was now a gentle ebb and flow, an unspoken agreement forming between Mia and these once feared dogs who had only known harsh commands and isolation. The shadows lengthened across the cold concrete floor as time slipped away unnoticed. Mia remained focused on building trust with each dog who ventured closer to her side. It was evident they were beginning to recognize something special about this newcomer, their perceptions shifting from hostility to understanding. With every soft word spoken amidst hushed breaths shared between humans and animals alike, Mia began dismantling walls built from past traumas while nurturing bonds strengthened by compassion instead of domination or fear-based control. She felt alive in ways she hadn't anticipated, an empowering synergy blossoming between them as they embraced vulnerability together under those flickering lights illuminating newfound paths emerging brightly ahead. When dawn broke beyond the horizon painted shades of orange across awakening skies, the change was undeniable. Rather than returning growls directed at anyone else in sight, the pack refused to respond to their handler's commands unless they came from Mia's mouth. The dogs now looked at her with loyalty and respect that transcended mere obedience. They recognized someone who understood their struggles unlike any before, the only person who had ever stayed when others left. As she prepared to leave the kennel behind alongside Titan and others following closely behind, Mia couldn't help but smile knowing she had forged connections deeper than anticipated while walking together toward fresh beginnings awaiting them all just beyond those gates opening wide into daybreak, beckoning brighter horizons, uncharted yet promising adventure anew. As Mia settled into the kennel, the sound of the heavy door clanging shut echoed ominously through the dimly lit space. Instantly, the tension in the air thickened, palpable and charged, as though the very walls were holding their breath. The flickering overhead lights only added to the eerie ambience, casting long shadows that danced and twisted across the concrete floor. It was a place where fear and unease mingled freely, particularly with dogs known for their fierce reputations. From various kennels around her, deep growls rumbled like distant thunder, warning her that she was intruding on a territory fiercely guarded by its inhabitants. Mia instinctively felt the weight of those growls. They were not mere sounds but an indication of the wild unpredictability that defined these aggressive canines. She could see their silhouettes pacing back and forth behind metal bars, eyes glinting with curiosity and suspicion as they assessed this newcomer who dared to enter their domain. "Keep calm," she reminded herself as she took a deep breath, forcing her body to relax against the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Mia knew she had to establish an air of confidence if she was to succeed in winning over these dogs who had likely seen more than their share of fear and pain. The soldiers outside expected chaos or perhaps even a tearful retreat from this hazing stunt, but Mia had no intention of giving them that satisfaction. As she moved deeper into the kennel, low growls morphed into sharper barks, echoing off the concrete walls like haunting refrains. One dog after another entered her field of vision. A hulking Rottweiler with a scarred muzzle snorted derisively, a sleek Belgian Malinois stared intently, muscles coiled beneath his coat as if he were ready to leap at any moment, and there was Titan, the German Shepherd whose fearsome reputation preceded him, watching her with piercing eyes filled with skepticism. Mia paused for a moment in front of Titan's kennel, heart racing but resolve firming within her. His powerful frame seemed to loom larger than life behind those bars. She could almost feel his suspicion radiating off him like heat waves rising from asphalt on a hot day. "You're not going to intimidate me," she whispered softly as she crouched down on one knee to make herself smaller and less threatening. The other dogs continued to bark loudly, creating a cacophony that echoed throughout the kennel area. It felt like being at the center of a storm where each gust represented possible danger or miscalculation on her part. Yet amidst that chaos grew something wholly unexpected. There was an undeniable sense of connection building between them even before she had spoken a word. Bracing herself for what might happen next, Mia extended her hand slowly toward Titan, the very embodiment of ferocity housed behind bars, and spoke gently, "I'm not here to hurt you." Her voice was steady and calm despite her pounding heart echoing drumbeats of uncertainty within. To her surprise, Titan took a cautious step forward rather than lunging or snapping at her fingers. His growl softened into an inquisitive huff as he sniffed at her outstretched palm, weaving curiosity into hesitation like a delicate thread binding them together briefly before he pulled back. In that fleeting moment, a spark flickered between them. Mia felt warmth spread through her chest as hope illuminated pathways previously shrouded in doubt. As minutes transformed into hours inside this intimidating environment filled with noise, Mia continued speaking softly to every dog within reach while maintaining eye contact grounded in understanding rather than intimidation. The initially aggressive barks gradually faded into quiet whines mixed with tentative approaches from other dogs drawn nearer in response to empathy buzzing among them. Outside those heavy doors stood her fellow soldiers peering in with expressions shifting from eager anticipation toward bewildered astonishment. They couldn't believe what was unfolding before their eyes. Instead, the very chaos they expected had been replaced by quiet exchange, transforming earlier hostility slowly blossoming towards trust shared quietly amongst souls betwixt iron bars, now yielding newfound potential unimagined prior, open wide toward different horizons unfolding ahead. In shadows stretching across cold concrete floors where time slipped away unnoticed, an empowering synergy unfurled under flickering lights, illuminating paths once fraught with dread, evolving gracefulness, guiding lives, crossing thresholds anew, forging bonds built strong, nurture through compassion, replacing fear steeped within layered histories, battling against isolation, carved deeply entrenched wounds hidden beneath hardened exteriors, longing for escape, blooming fresh beginnings, tethered tenderly, realizing kinship everlasting, positively transforming all encounters, unpredictable meeting marked precisely, conquering pasts, rising triumphantly, embracing future paths unexplored, flashing bright, inviting all toward freedom, released, yearning unchained, revealed here tonight, expanding everywhere, comprehensively merging experience, colliding friendship, birthing connections, deep and trusting instincts, leading onward, boundless horizons gleaming bright, inviting one and all, journey fully realized, met anew, standing unified. In shadows stretching across cold concrete floors where time slipped away unnoticed, an empowering synergy unfurled under flickering lights, illuminating paths once fraught with dread, evolving gracefulness, guiding lives, crossing thresholds anew, forging bonds built strong, nurture through compassion, replacing fear steeped within layered histories, battling against isolation, carved deeply entrenched wounds hidden beneath hardened exteriors, longing for escape, blooming fresh beginnings, tethered tenderly, realizing kinship everlasting, positively transforming all encounters, unpredictable meeting marked precisely, conquering pasts, rising triumphantly, embracing future paths unexplored, flashing bright, inviting all toward freedom, released, yearning unchained, revealed here tonight, expanding everywhere, comprehensively merging experience, colliding friendship, birthing connections, deep and trusting instincts, leading onward, boundless horizons gleaming bright, inviting one and all, journey fully realized, met anew, standing unified. As Mia knelt before Titan, the memories of her past as a rehabilitation handler poured into her mind like a soothing balm. She closed her eyes and let the images play out, transporting her back to the kennel at the other base where her journey had begun, a place filled with dogs in need of understanding and healing. The day she first walked through those heavy doors was etched into her memory. It had been a sunny afternoon, sunlight pouring in through the windows, illuminating the rows of kennels that housed dogs from all walks of life, each with its own scars and stories. Many had faced abandonment or abuse, and their spirits lay shattered behind cold metal bars. Mia had stepped into that space filled with trepidation but also with determination. She longed to make a difference. Among those dogs, there was Bella, a timid shepherd mix with doe-like eyes that spoke volumes about her pain. Bella had arrived at the shelter terrified of humans, flinching at every touch and barking at anyone who came too close. But Mia was drawn to her. Something about Bella's vulnerability struck a chord deep within. She remembered how she had sat quietly outside Bella's kennel for hours on end, speaking softly and tossing little treats through the bars as a way to bridge that gap of fear. Days turned into weeks as Mia committed herself to earning Bella's trust. The first breakthrough came unexpectedly. One evening, after many silent vigil nights, Bella took a tentative step forward, sniffing at Mia's outstretched hand. That moment felt monumental. It was more than just a dog accepting a treat, it was an invitation into each other's lives. From that point on, their bond grew stronger. She would pet Bella gently when she felt comfortable enough to approach. Mia had learned that true rehabilitation demanded time, patience, and an unwavering belief in the possibility of change. Each dog she worked with revealed new layers of resilience and hope that inspired her to continue even when facing setbacks. She watched other dogs transform under her care: Max, the once aggressive Rottweiler who learned to wag his tail instead of lunging, and Daisy, the skittish Chihuahua who finally curled up next to Mia one chilly night, realizing that not all human hands were meant to hurt. Those experiences molded Mia into a handler who understood that aggression often masked fear and insecurity. As she recalled those moments of connection, a wave of confidence washed over her as she faced Titan, the fierce dog whose reputation could intimidate anyone else but now stood before her as a challenge waiting to be met. Just like Bella, Mia whispered, finding strength in that memory. She focused on Titan's intense gaze filled with skepticism, recognizing an emotion mirrored in countless others she had encountered throughout her time fostering healing among dogs desperate for love and connection. Steeling herself, Mia continued speaking softly to him. "I'm not here to hurt you," she repeated as she gradually extended her hand further towards his kennel, mirroring the same calm energy she offered Bella when they first met. The flickering lights above highlighted Titan's muscular frame but did nothing to erase the emotional distance separating them. As moments lingered on and other dogs settled quietly around her in anticipation, the tension in the air softened, gradually transforming growls into inquisitive huffs. Mia sensed that history was repeating itself. This time, it was an opportunity for connection woven across different lives and stories no longer veiled by fear alone. The soldiers outside hovered near the fence, their incredulous expressions shifting from anticipation of chaos to astonishment as they witnessed what began as tension morph into tentative camaraderie, realizing that this girl wielded an inexplicable gift rooted deeply within her heart, spilling outward into possibilities uncharted, navigating paths towards connection, fiercely awaiting discovery. With each soft word spoken amidst hesitant approaches from Titan, to say nothing of gentle nudges from others seeking affirmation near, Mia cultivated an atmosphere steeped in compassion rather than dominance, allowing trust nurtured beneath flickering lights rise anew, transcending barriers built strong, forged through struggles, intertwining courage, invigorating fresh beginnings, beckoned brightly, daring us to explore depths deeper still, illuminated brightly, forever forging friendships blossoming amidst shadows, evolving united. As hours slipped by unnoticed within this once stifling environment, now vibrantly alive with potential untapped, fueled by positivity, blending effortlessly together, boundless, emerging from shadows, overlaid hearts renewed, resilient, joining together, illuminating truths cherished forever, glowing brighter, leading forth, inviting onward, vast horizons alighting, friendships dreamed while standing united. As the night wore on, a remarkable transformation began to unfold within the once intimidating confines of the kennel. The low growls that had initially filled the air with tension gradually faded, replaced by an atmosphere of quiet curiosity and burgeoning trust. Mia, in her kneeling position before Titan, was forging connections that defied the men's expectations. Outside, where they awaited chaos and fear, a different scene was taking shape beneath the flickering lights. The dogs seemed to sense something profound. Their instincts kicked in as they observed Mia interact with Titan. One by one, they began to settle around her, drawn not just by her calm energy but by an invisible thread connecting them to her past experiences. The once looming shadows of aggression began to dissipate into gentle whines and inquisitive sniffs as each dog made the choice to approach this newcomer whose heart radiated warmth. Titan was still wary but less hostile now. He shifted slightly on his paws, allowing his guard to drop as he watched others inch closer. Mia remained steady, keeping her voice low and soothing, using words of encouragement that she had often whispered to distressed dogs in the past. "You're doing great," she cooed softly, now speaking not just to Titan but also gesturing toward the other dogs gathering around her. The first to venture closer was a muscular Rottweiler named Bruno. He eyed Mia carefully before lowering himself onto his belly just a few feet away. It was a sign of submission, a signal that he felt safe enough to disengage from his aggressive persona and simply be present in this new reality unfolding around them. Encouraged by this small victory, Mia reached out slowly again, letting him take in her scent and feel assured that she meant no harm. One after another, more dogs followed suit. A sleek Belgian Malinois quietly sidled next to Bruno, while an anxious Labrador mix who had been nervously pacing soon found comfort in Mia's gentle presence. With each passing moment, she felt walls begin to crumble that had stood strong for so long between these fearful creatures and herself. The sounds of uncertainty blended into soft sighs and curious nudges as relationships were formed based on mutual respect. Outside the kennel walls, Mia's fellow soldiers stood frozen in disbelief as they watched this unexpected shift occur before their very eyes. They had anticipated watching a rookie crumble under pressure. Instead, they witnessed a young woman transforming fear into connection with every soft word exchanged amidst what was once an intimidating environment filled with growls and sharp barks. Mia could feel their astonishment penetrating through heavy air thick with tension earlier, a palpable insistence newly tempered arising steadily, weaving into threads binding previously isolated lives together. The change marked a turning point, not only for her journey ahead but also for those magnificent creatures who desperately needed affirmation that kindness prevailed beyond prior experiences marred by pain. As night continued its slow march toward dawn, an ethereal glow illuminating edges of life broken open amid dimness, Mia's heart swelled seeing how these memories thrived through acts performed not only upon challenging spirits but ultimately delivering beautiful truths, beckoning forward, discovering unyielding strength forged anew amid chaos, transformed into symphony harmonizing across strains, leading boldly onward. Time slipped effortlessly through moments boundlessly shared. The once stony faces surrounding her softened, now imbued with clearer understanding, reflected back toward newly forged friendships blossoming where shadows lingered, embracing warmth, enriching tender connections, revealing vulnerabilities intertwined, finding solace shared, calming hearts ignited, brightly illuminated veins softly pulsing, interdependently intertwining, sweetly threaded pathways blossoming ever outward, met more hopeful. Glimmers emerging from deep recesses discovered, releasing potential boundless, waiting rooted ground held deeply, fortifying narratives alive through love exchanged, seen transforming futures radiantly revealed during this sudden awakening, unfolding beautifully together forever singing, volumes raising high. Capturing moments never dissipating, spiraling endlessly unshackled. Time slipped effortlessly through moments boundlessly shared. The once stony faces surrounding her softened, now imbued with clearer understanding, reflected back toward newly forged friendships blossoming where shadows lingered, embracing warmth, enriching tender connections, revealing vulnerabilities intertwined, finding solace shared, calming hearts ignited, brightly illuminated veins softly pulsing, interdependently intertwining, sweetly threaded pathways blossoming ever outward, met more hopeful. Glimmers emerging from deep recesses discovered, releasing potential boundless, waiting rooted ground held deeply, fortifying narratives alive through love exchanged, seen transforming futures radiantly revealed during this sudden awakening, unfolding beautifully together forever singing, volumes raising high. Capturing moments never dissipating, spiraling endlessly unshackled. In those precious hours transformed profoundly, what began as hazing evolved into authentic exchanges, fostering trust, brimming over, alive again, vibrant, flourishing freely, manifestation coming forth unmitigated, embracing revitalized, unshaken souls walking united, summon onward toward horizons blushing bright, filled with possibilities yearning, dreamt, awaiting right here amidst shadows evolving brighter ahead. As the night deepened, Mia felt a sense of purpose wash over her, guiding her actions as she worked to connect with the dogs around her. With each gentle sound, she projected calmness, allowing her experience to shine through. Her understanding of canine behavior became increasingly evident in how she approached each interaction. She was not just a rookie in a kennel, she was a lifeline for these dogs. Mia remained grounded on the concrete floor, her posture open and inviting. She remembered from her time as a rehabilitation handler that dogs often mirrored human energy. If she stayed relaxed and confident, they would respond in kind. She took slow, deliberate breaths, letting the anxiety melt away, creating an invisible barrier of serenity that enveloped her like a warm blanket. As Titan observed her intently, Mia whispered soothing words, reminding herself that patience was key. "It's okay, big guy," she said softly, allowing the timbre of her voice to resonate through his tense form. I'm not here to hurt you. This simple affirmation was crucial. It conveyed safety and understanding while simultaneously acknowledging his fears. To further engage Titan and the other dogs around her, Mia began using subtle body language techniques that she had learned over the years. Rather than towering over them or making sudden movements that could startle them, she kept her hands low and offered treats slowly, never forcing contact but rather inviting it. Each piece of kibble became a bridge built on trust and mutual respect. The first breakthrough came from Bruno, the muscular Rottweiler who had initially eyed Mia with suspicion. After watching her interact gently with Titan and the Malinois nearby, Bruno's growls softened into curious huffs as he lowered himself onto his belly just a few feet away. This act of submission was significant. It signaled that he felt safe enough to let go of his aggressive facade. Mia seized this moment to extend her hand toward him slowly, palm upturned. As he sniffed cautiously at her fingers, she felt a rush of pride and joy. This was progress. Good boy, she praised him gently, reinforcing his choice to approach rather than withdraw. By rewarding positive behaviors with encouragement and treats, Mia effectively nurtured an environment centered around trust rather than fear. One by one, other dogs began to follow suit as they observed Bruno's choice to engage with Mia. A sleek Belgian Malinois sidled up beside him while an anxious Labrador mix tentatively approached from behind. The sounds of earlier growls transformed into gentle whines and inquisitive nudges, each dog expressing their willingness to connect. Mia maintained eye contact with each dog as they approached, ensuring they felt seen and understood. She recalled how important it was for dogs to feel acknowledged. This simple act could alleviate their stress and reinforce their bravery in facing new experiences. With every soft word spoken, "You're all doing so well," she cultivated an atmosphere where fear gradually ebbed away. Her fellow soldiers outside the kennel stood in amazement as they watched this transformation unfold. They had expected to see a frightened rookie crumble under pressure but instead witnessed Mia working meticulously to break down barriers between herself and these once aggressive canines. The chaos they anticipated turned into something entirely different, an empowering display of connection through kindness. As time ticked onward beneath the flickering lights overhead, Mia began to feel more than just calmness rising within her. It was an energy fueled by hope, the hopeful resurgence of relationships once thought irreparably damaged now mending softly in gentle interludes shared together. The bonds forming between Mia and the dogs grew stronger with each passing moment, a testament to what could happen when compassion met courage. By shifting the narrative from one of fear to one of understanding and embrace, Mia demonstrated how vital it was for these animals to feel safe enough to shed layers of aggression built over time due to trauma or neglect. Each dog responded positively to her nurturing presence. Their spirits began soaring higher amidst shared exchanges rich with love woven intricately through stories lived together. As shadows lengthened across the concrete floor illuminated by dawn's soft glow creeping through barred windows, the transformation reached its peak. No longer were growls echoing ominously throughout that space but rather gentle sighs filled with relief evident everywhere around them, blossoming beautifully into newfound companionship forged through trust, radiant bright, emerging alive anew, beckoning forth brighter horizons ahead. As the night continued to unfold, the soldiers outside the kennel stood in a mix of disbelief and awe, watching the unexpected bond form between Mia and the dogs. Their initial expectation of chaos had transformed into a scene filled with calmness and connection, a reality that contradicted everything they had anticipated. The sight of Mia surrounded by the pack, each dog drawn to her nurturing presence, became a moment of revelation for them. The flickering lights above cast a soft glow on Mia as she sat cross-legged on the concrete floor, her posture relaxed yet inviting. Her hands moved gently, offering treats and kind words while maintaining eye contact with each dog that approached her. It was in these subtle actions that she showcased her skills, a blend of patience, empathy, and an understanding of canine behavior that the unit had grossly underestimated. Watching from behind the chain-link fence, one soldier leaned closer, trying to comprehend what they were witnessing. "Look at how they're responding to her," he said to another who stood beside him, arms crossed tight against his chest. "I'd never thought any of them would let their guard down like this." "Yeah," came the reply, an edge of realization creeping into his voice. "I thought we'd see her begging to get out by now." Mia was acutely aware of their gaze upon her. The soldier's surprise was fueling her resolve. She turned her focus back to Titan, who seemed increasingly curious despite his initial wariness. As he inched closer, she leaned forward slightly and spoke softly, "You don't have to be afraid anymore." Her voice was steady and reassuring, slicing through any remnants of tension that might linger between them. In that moment, something shifted within Titan. He took a bold step forward, nudging her hand cautiously with his nose. This simple act marked a significant milestone not only for him but also for Mia. She sensed it was a turning point in their relationship. "Good boy," she praised him warmly, feeling a rush of happiness as he began to relax under her gentle approach. It wasn't just Titan who felt this change. Soon after, other dogs began to follow suit. A sleek Belgian Malinois crept closer alongside Bruno, while an anxious Labrador mix moved tentatively toward where Mia sat. She watched in wonder as each dog approached slowly but surely, realizing they could trust this new presence among them, now sharing moments intertwined, blossoming into vibrant connections previously obscured by fear. The soldiers outside exchanged incredulous glances as they witnessed this undeniable transformation unfold before their eyes. It was nothing short of magical. They began to grasp how deep-seated trauma could melt away under the warmth of genuine care, how kindness could break barriers that years of neglect had built around these once hostile animals. "Is she really going to walk out with all those dogs?" one soldier whispered incredulously as Bruno nestled against Mia's leg. It marked another victory in this ongoing journey from aggression to trust. "She might," came another voice tinged with newfound respect for the young recruit who seemed to effortlessly bridge species gaps with grace and understanding. The realization hit hard. What they thought would be yet another hazing stunt had morphed into something far more profound, a showcase of resilience flourishing through acts rooted deeply in compassion. As dawn approached on the horizon, its soft light filtering through the barred windows, the kennel became illuminated not just by the physical glow outside but also by hope sparkling vibrantly amidst every gentle nudge exchanged within its walls. Each dog nestled closer together, now forming reassuring bonds confirmed by shared vulnerability, rising higher, extending unwavering trust forged anew beneath flickering lights alive. Mia could feel an electric energy building around her. It was infectious, as if joy were weaving itself throughout every corner where once fear prowled, only yielding newly found companionship, blossoming brightly, paving pathways toward brighter days ahead. That night marked something transformational, not just for herself or even those dogs encircling Mia, but also for the soldiers witnessing this rallying triumph unfold right before their eyes, transforming perceptions long held, changing lives, shifting perspectives, forever shining brightly, beckoning forth lovingly, inviting endless opportunities, waiting among shadows, brought forth liberating souls unshackled, finally welcoming brighter dawns ahead, burst alive. As dawn broke over the horizon, a soft light filtered through the barred windows of the kennel, casting gentle rays across the concrete floor where Mia sat surrounded by the pack. The transformation that had taken place throughout the night was palpable. What had begun as a tense standoff between aggressive dogs and a newcomer was now a scene of serene companionship. Mia could feel the energy in the air shift as the first light of day illuminated her surroundings. The once low growls that had filled the space were replaced with contented sighs and quiet whines, signaling a newfound sense of safety among the dogs. They were no longer viewing her as an intruder but rather as a trusted ally. Each dog curled up closer around her, seeking warmth and comfort in their shared vulnerability. The soldiers outside the kennel exchanged glances filled with increasing disbelief. As they watched Mia's influence spread among the dogs, they noticed something extraordinary happening. When their own handlers called for them to return, not a single dog responded. Instead of obeying familiar commands from the soldiers they had known for years, the pack remained steadfastly near Mia, drawn to her calming presence like moths to a flame. "Why aren't they listening to us?" one soldier whispered incredulously, fear and admiration mixing in his voice as he witnessed this unexpected loyalty forming between Mia and these once fearful canines. "Look at how they're looking at her," another soldier said softly, realizing that Mia had built an unspoken bond rooted in understanding and trust, a connection that resonated deeper than any command shouted from behind the fence. Mia, meanwhile, sensed this turning point as she looked into Titan's eyes, now soft and inquisitive where once suspicion reigned. She understood instinctively that these dogs saw her as more than just a rookie. They recognized her as someone who genuinely cared for them and had invested time in earning their trust. The power of true connection echoed within those walls. She had become their source of comfort amid fears born from past traumas. "Stay with me for just a little longer," she murmured to Titan as she extended her hand once more toward him. "You don't have to worry." At that moment, she felt an electric charge ripple through the air, a palpable reminder that she was in control of this atmosphere. Her fellow soldiers stood frozen, taking in this unprecedented display of camaraderie. It was not merely about obedience anymore, it was about love and respect born from shared experiences, the kind that transcends mere commands or expectations held tightly in place by past experiences laden with fear. Outside the kennel, realization dawned on them all. Mia's gentle approach had dismantled years of mistrust layered thick upon these dogs' hearts. They hadn't expected her to bond so deeply or so quickly with creatures known for their ferocity. Instead, she had cultivated an environment where healing could begin, one where emotional walls crumbled under softness instead of force. As dawn continued to rise around them, bathing everything in its golden glow, Mia felt invigorated by what lay ahead. She extended her arms gently toward Titan and invited him closer still. He took a step forward without hesitation now, nudging against her palm in a gesture filled with newfound confidence. In this moment of shared understanding between human and canine, it became evident that love could conquer fear. It could rewrite narratives long thought unchangeable, leading onward toward brighter horizons ahead. The dynamic shifted completely. The pack formed around Mia like an unbreakable circle bound by trust, forged anew, welcoming each other warmly back toward life's vibrancy, heralding hope, beckoning all forward into promising journeys yet unfurling bright beneath sunlight emerging. The final moments before sunrise held an air of magic. What began amidst shadows transformed into an awakening, revealing depths previously unrealized, illuminated beautifully, resonating across hearts touched, forever binding them together, paving pathways rich, ripe, blossoming, bright, ready, inviting endless possibilities, flourishing beyond shadows cast, inviting brighter tomorrows, shining resolutely while rising together, welcoming all awaiting revelations, lovingly unfurling forth. As the first light of dawn streamed through the barred windows, illuminating the kennel in a warm golden glow, Mia felt a surge of triumph coursing through her. She rose to her feet, her heart swelling with pride as she surveyed the scene before her. The pack of dogs, once known for their aggression and hostility, now surrounded her with an unwavering trust that had blossomed overnight. What had begun as a hazing stunt had morphed into something transformative, not only for Mia but for the dogs who had sought safety in her presence. With each dog nestled closely at her feet, Titan, Bruno, the Belgian Malinois, and others, Mia realized how far they had all come together. The once turbulent atmosphere had shifted entirely, replaced by a palpable sense of companionship and calm. She took a moment to breathe in the fresh morning air and acknowledge the profound bond they had formed during those long hours spent in the kennel. "Let's go, everyone," she called softly, her voice steady and reassuring. As she moved toward the heavy door that separated them from the outside world, she felt a rush of excitement knowing they would walk out together as a united pack rather than as individuals lost in fear. To Mia's surprise, the dogs responded immediately. They shifted into motion alongside her, not just following but walking with purpose. The very notion of them ignoring their handlers was astonishing. The soldiers had gathered outside, their eyes wide with disbelief as they witnessed this unprecedented scene unfold. Dogs once known for snapping at anyone who dared approach them were now choosing to align themselves with Mia instead of their familiar handlers. "Look at that," one soldier exclaimed, pointing toward the pack. "They're actually following her." The realization washed over the soldiers like a tidal wave. They had underestimated Mia's ability to connect with these animals deeply. No longer did she appear as just another rookie who would succumb to fear. She stood tall as a leader among them, a beacon of hope that illuminated their path from darkness into light. As Mia approached the door, she turned back to face the pack, feeling Titan brush against her leg affectionately. "Together," she whispered, reinforcing their bond further. With one final breath to steady herself, she pushed open the door and stepped out into the bright morning sun, a powerful symbol of triumph over adversity. The moment she crossed the threshold, the soldiers fell silent, standing frozen in awe as they watched Mia emerge with a full entourage of dogs at her heels. It was a sight so profound that it transcended words. Here was a girl who had faced down fear and embraced compassion, earning their loyalty and respect along the way. Mia led them across the grass toward an open field bathed in sunlight, a vast expanse symbolizing newfound freedom and possibilities waiting ahead. The dogs' tails wagged excitedly as they followed her every step. It was as if they instinctively understood that this journey marked a fresh start for each one of them. As they reached the center of the field, Mia turned around to face both the dogs and her fellow soldiers watching from behind the fence. "Thank you for believing in me," she said softly to both groups, acknowledging how they too were part of this remarkable change. The dogs looked up at her adoringly, confirming that trust had been forged in those precious hours together. In that moment, everything came full circle. The hazing stunt that had begun with skepticism and disdain transformed into a celebration of resilience fueled by compassion and understanding. The soldiers now recognized not just Mia's ability but also the power of kindness in shaping relationships, healing wounds both seen and unseen. Surrounded by this vibrant tapestry of life, Mia felt invigorated by what lay ahead. With heads held high and spirits soaring together as one united pack, they stepped boldly into an uncertain yet promising future where challenges awaited them all while holding on to this profound connection forever cherished built upon trust renewed. As Mia stepped out of the kennel, dawn painted the sky with soft hues of orange and pink, signaling not just a new day but the culmination of her incredible journey. The pack of dogs followed closely behind her, each one embodying the trust that had blossomed overnight. It was a moment that resonated deeply within her. She had faced the challenge head-on and emerged victorious. The soldiers outside stood in stunned silence, their expressions a mixture of disbelief and admiration as they witnessed this extraordinary scene unfold. They had anticipated chaos, expecting to see Mia frightened or overwhelmed by the aggressive canines she had been locked in with. Instead, they saw a young woman who had transformed fear into loyalty, forging deep connections based on understanding and compassion. "Look at them," one soldier breathed, unable to tear his gaze away from the sight of Mia leading the dogs confidently across the grass. "They're actually following her." As Mia strode forward, she could feel their eyes on her, the weight of their expectations shifting profoundly in that moment. She was no longer just the new recruit, she had become a beacon of hope and resilience among both her fellow soldiers and the pack that now walked beside her like family. With every step toward the open field ahead, Mia glanced back at Titan and Bruno, who remained close at her side, their tails wagging joyfully as they reveled in this newfound freedom. The bond they shared transcended words, speaking volumes about what could be achieved when one chose kindness over fear. Mia's heart swelled with pride. She felt invigorated by the journey they had taken together throughout the night. Each moment spent nurturing trust among those once deemed unapproachable had brought them all closer to understanding. She paused for a brief moment to soak it all in. The sounds of soft panting mixed with gentle whines from the pack filled the air with warmth. As she reached the center of the sunlit field, Mia turned to face her fellow soldiers standing behind the fence. "Thank you for believing in me," she said softly, acknowledging not only their presence but also their support throughout this transformative experience. The dogs looked up at her adoringly. There was no doubt that trust had been established during those long hours shared within those walls. The soldiers exchanged glances filled with newfound respect for Mia as they processed what they had witnessed, a shift not only in their perception of her capabilities but also in their understanding of how love could break down barriers built on fear and misunderstanding. They realized how easily they had underestimated her strength. She had shown them that true leadership stems from compassion rather than authority. "Maybe we need to rethink how we approach these dogs," one soldier mused aloud as he watched Mia interact effortlessly with each dog around her. "She's got something special." "Yeah," another replied thoughtfully, "it's like she speaks their language." The dawn continued to brighten around them, its golden touch illuminating not just the land but also hearts opened anew through mutual respect forged together amidst shadows lingering softly dissipating gracefully transformed now inviting warmth shining brightly alive. As Mia prepared to lead her pack onward into whatever awaited them beyond this moment, she understood that this was more than just walking out of a kennel. It was about stepping into a future filled with promise born from connections deeper than mere obedience or training. It represented loyalty forged through experience, shared understanding, bridging lives entwined forever enriched. In those final moments before embarking on new adventures awaiting ahead, Mia felt empowered by every heartbeat echoing harmoniously alongside hers, mirrored back by dogs united beside her, flowing forward toward horizons yet unseen, glowing brightly, inviting every possibility, waiting patiently upon paths winding ever forth. With heads held high and spirits soaring together, they stepped boldly into an uncertain yet hopeful future where challenges awaited, hand in paw, ready, embracing life's vibrancy united.